Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 1983 Japanese softcore erotica film that is Pink Cut. Love me hard, love me deep. Yes, that is the actual title of this movie. I mean, at least it's not lying. I mean, you know exactly what kind of film you're in for, just based on the title alone. And other than some admittedly some nice shots of TNA, this really wasn't for me. There's barely a plot. There's no characterization. There's really not a lot to this beyond just tits and ass, and I think also an aesthetic, because it definitely has a certain look and vibe to it. That's very like fluffy and airy and light, and it isn't really as hardcore as some other Japanese erotica films tend to be. So I think there's definitely an element of it that pertains to that makes it appeal to some people. But I just thought this was mostly a pretty boring, forgettable movie, minus some titillating elements that would pop up from time to time during the running time. Now, before I get around to sharing more of my thoughts on the film, though, I would like to give a special shout out to Ryan for requesting this review. And if there is another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal, my Patreon, or my Cash App. Links to all three are going to be in the video description down below, and I will try to get your requests as soon as I possibly can. Now, Pink Cut is directed by Yoshimitsu Morita. And this is a director who would go on to be well known for a film called The Family Game, as well as some other movies in his filmography. There's one called Haru from 1996, which is probably the second most well known film out of his filmography. I haven't seen either one, so I can't really say anything about those movies. Now, this was one of his earlier films, and this was like his second softcore, raunchy erotica film. And directing wise, this isn't that bad. Like, I honestly think that the direction is one of the few aspects of this film that I think is genuinely admirable, especially for the kind of film that this is. The director really showcases some serious talent with how he utilizes some camera angles and zooms and various other ways that he works with the camera or works with the various different actresses and actors throughout a given scene. How he works with lighting is also something that's rather effective. And this was his first time being able to use sets, because previously he was just shooting films on location. So he was able to use sets for a fair amount of shots in this, and that enabled him to experiment even more with his camera work. And uh, through that experimentation, you definitely saw a director who was pretty dynamic and pretty strong when it comes to their sense of visual style. Like, this is a nice looking film. It definitely has a certain vibe to it visually. It is kind of fluffy and cotton candy esque, and I think that definitely does fit. You know, the era that it was made in. I mean, it's an '80s movie, so it definitely has that '80s look to it. But not just that, it's a film that definitely, despite its copious amounts of scenes involving sex, it doesn't look seedy. It doesn't look like, it's something that's trying to be sleazy. It still has this visual look and overall flair to it that is kind of, light and airy and fluffy. And uh, I think it does at points provide it with some of the elements that, a genuinely good Japanese rom-com could have. But because of the fact that so much of the focus of the film is just on tits and ass, or mostly tits, really, there's really not a lot of room for character moments or for some of the other sort of things that you would normally see in a rom-com. So it's one of those movies where directing wise, I think, it's definitely a lot better than your average porno. It definitely does feature some direction that showcases that the person who's doing the film and who is behind the camera, shooting all these people doing it, he's not a guy who is like a total amateur. He's not a guy who's just going to be stuck directing porno movies the rest of his life. He definitely feels like somebody who could direct, a different genre or direct something else. So, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, this is, a start for him. Yeah, and it's leading to something that's a little bit more special and a little bit more unique when it comes to his filmography. So, yeah, I mean, I do like the direction for this film. That doesn't mean I like the movie, but I do like the direction of it, and I do think it's easily the best thing about this movie. Now, Pink Cut is written by Tomomi Kimura and Yoshimitsu Morita, so the director also co-writes the film. This screenplay is not very good. I mean, it's a pretty weak script. There's not much of a plot beyond a very threadbare, skimpy outline of a plot, and there's not really that much characterization either. You basically have this salon, which is ran by a bunch of college age, attractive students. They go to college, or at least one or two of them go to college. I don't know about the other gals who work at the salon. But they run and they operate this salon. And the unique thing about it is that they serve their clients topless or entirely naked at points. Although you don't really see them entirely naked, you just see them topless every now and then. So instead of it being, a happy ending in this instance, like it would be at a massage parlor, they give their clients a happy haircut. And you have these two guys, Akira and his friend, who I don't remember what the hell. I don't even know what the guy's name is, to be perfectly honest. I completely blanked. Yeah, he has a friend of his who's got like long hair, and I don't remember what his name is, but he is best friends with Akira. And he went to the salon, I think, first, and then Akira hears about it, so then he decides he wants to go over there and get himself a happy haircut, and that's where he meets this girl named Mami, and he winds up falling for her. And the thing that makes Akira kind of an asshole is that he's already dating another girl during all of this. So he's actively cheating on this other girl named Yuka. And he's still having sex with Yuka, too. So he's still, trying to have his cake and eat it, too. And I'm like, dude, you're a jerk. And he's your lead. This is your lead. And I get it. You know, it definitely doesn't feel like Yuka and Akira are the best fit. And speaking of Akira, I mean, I have to be honest here. Like, when I found out his name was Akira, I definitely thought of the animated film. So it just makes me wonder if there's a porno version of Akira out there. If there isn't, this is probably, I guess, the closest you can get because, you know, there's a character named Akira in it. Uh, but yeah, this Akira guy, it doesn't seem like him and Yuka are really connecting or hitting it off that much. She's honestly kind of treating him like crap because he hasn't been able to find a job yet. And that's a whole thing is him trying to find a job and then eventually by the end of the movie he gets a job at the salon. So he is trying to, you know, string along these two women. And to be fair, eventually he does break things off with Yuka. So then he just focuses all of his affection and attention to Mommy. And so a lot of the stuff with him and Mommy is just like stuff straight out of like a corny rom-com. And it's, you know, it's got its moments. There's some sweet moments here and there, but there's not enough to really allow any of it to stick because most of the screen time, most of the story is just devoted to random sex scenes. Like you get a little bit in the beginning with Mommy and her salon girls. Mommy winds up essentially getting assaulted by her professor at college, which is really just just an absolutely icky, gross scene. And then you know you have sex scenes between Akira and Yuka, sex scenes between Akira's friend and some other girl from the salon, this old guy this who has a perverted sex dream while he's getting his hair cut at the salon, more sex scenes with Akira and Mommy, and it's not like it's particularly that funny, so it doesn't really switch things up that much when it comes to the script in that regard. Because I really don't remember laughing at all while I was watching it, except when I heard the guy's name was Akira, and I just kept thinking of, you know, what if this was like a legitimate, like straight up porno adaptation of the Akira movie, Tetsuo. But other than that, like I definitely was not thinking about a lot of other aspects of it that were that humorous because there really wasn't much there. It was just a lot of this guy can't find a job in Akira, and then you know he winds up going to the salon and falls for this girl who works there named Mommy, and then you just get a bunch of softcore sex scenes that are sprinkled in, and then Akira winds up winning the heart of Mommy, and then he gets a job at the salon, and then everybody in the movie has a big dance number at the end. Like that made me like kind of smirk a little bit because it was something that was definitely unexpected and silly. But it's not like they did a funny dance or anything, or you know the lyrics of the song were anything like that funny or humorous. It was just a regular dance number like you would see in a typical musical, like maybe a Japanese version of Footloose or Grease or something. Like it really wasn't anything that was particularly, you know, comedic in nature. And it's a very short too. Like it's only an hour and 8 minutes in the entire movie. So there's really not a lot of support, you know, holding up this plot or what little of it there is, or you know anything substantial for this movie. You know, beyond just some shots of tits. You know, and you know, there's some nice looking tits, but like I don't know, man. Maybe give me a little bit more than that. But I guess that's really the main reason for this existing anyway. So it's really, it's essentially just a softcore porn. So the plot is secondary to the amount of titties that you see in the movie. But after a certain point, like even the titties aren't enough to keep you up in a multitude of different ways, because there's really nothing in terms of an engaging plot. The characters aren't really that strong or that interesting or uh, um, fun to watch. The dynamic between them isn't really that entertaining. And so it's just one of those movies where you're just, honestly, after a certain point, you start fast forwarding through the sex scenes because they're mostly all the same, and you're trying to watch what little of the plot there is, and that ultimately by the end becomes more interesting. This is a weird thing where, honestly, if it was just a straightforward rom-com with, like, a couple steamy sex scenes, then this, and that was the focus of this film, it would have been a lot better. Because as it is, like, it's just mostly softcore sex scenes and barely much of a plot at all, and then uh, they dance at the end, and that's pink cut. There's just a lot of stuff in it in terms of its script, to me, that could have been cut out, or could have been cut together in a completely different way than it is when it comes to the final product, the actual film that this is. It's like one of those things where, the direction is good. I actually think the romance between Mami and Akira is actually sweet and charming to a fault. Definitely not when he's cheating on his girlfriend with her, but, once he, splits things off and they court each other, that there actually is some, heartfelt moments there. But it's hard to really allow those moments to resonate or stay with you for that long, because then it's just right back into the softcore porn elements of the story and the screenplay. So yeah, not the best script. The cast is actually another element of this film that's not too bad. Like Mayumi Terashima, who plays Mami, I thought her performance is actually pretty good. Same thing goes for Akira, Katsunobu Ito. Mai Inoue, who played Yuka, not really the best actress. Ryōko Watanabe, who plays Midori, she was fine. Chi Yamaguchi played Tomoe Mariyama. I think this is a male actor. No, this is a female actress. I think she was one of the salon members. I'm trying to see who's the guy who's like his friend. Okay, it's probably Hirofumi Kobayashi, who played Kaisuke. That's probably who it is. But yeah, the cast is serviceable. It's decent. I've definitely seen a lot worse when it comes to softcore or erotica casts. You have some actual actors and actresses in this. Like, they're not, straight up just old porn level only actors, which is what you can get with a lot of films of this nature. The film also features some other technical aspects, but, like, I mean, it's a softcore porn. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, the cinematography, definitely fits the aesthetic and the overall look that the director is trying to go for by Koichi Suzuki. The editing by Akimasa Kawashima is definitely something that, you know, it definitely provides the film with a decent pace and helps the film have a more artistic, stylish overall look to it. when it comes to, you know, the sex scenes and on some of the other scenes throughout the film. But this is just really not much of anything when it comes to uh, a film in general, because over half of it is just softcore porn sex scenes. That's it. That's all that it really is when it comes to the bulk of it. And then like an okay at best rom-com. So it's just one of those movies where, like, if this is your thing, like you're really into these kind of Japanese or softcore porn films, or just Japanese porn in general, and you just want to see some, you know, Japanese tits and maybe a little bit of, you know, everything else, then, you know, check it out, I guess. If that's your thing, that's what you're into. But, you know, if you want to see anything that has an actual plot or characterization or anything substantial when it comes to other aspects of what you might be looking for out of a film, then this is definitely something you can skip. You could take a hard pass on, you know, because there's really not much to this beyond just, you know, some, you know, TNA, and that, you know, that's really about it. But anyway, thank you for watching my review of Pink Cut. Love me hard, love me deep. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.